have already reached that.
They have certainly outperformed on today's games, right? 2 matches in, they are over 40 points there. That is half of the way to that metric, right? If you're looking at previous tournaments that have been played with a 12-map set, it is around the 80-point mark that you will see for 8th place on 24 teams. They've done half of the work that they need to do over these next few matches. It means that over the next 9 matches, they're looking, over the next 9 matches, they are going to need to look to put 40 more points on to feel nice and safe.
Yeah.
That is a pretty low average.
I would say so. We see some big games, but we were talking about it. Consistency is key, not only here, but also in life. Let me not get too deep already as my first global event here, but I will say 6 points or so you're saying I think is where you want to be. But granted, that's, of course, not counting the first 3 games. We've got some teams towards the bottom. Now, we'll talk about them over time. Power's been struggling, right? Nongshim Red Force have also been eliminated quite early throughout multiple games, and they're not the only ones, but I do want to say the race for top 8 to make it into finals is still very, very close. We've got to keep our eye on from Team Secret and above, and of course, the home favorite team, Falcons in 9th, looking to make their way up.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still very much all to play for at this stage. Because of Fourth Thrives taking so many points from the lobby, that increases the volatility of the rest of the tables. It means that they're going to be closer to one another. It means that position jumps are going to be easier, or rather more difficult to fend off for the teams who have already got those top 8 spots. And it's going to be really exciting to see how that unfolds. I think that the most interesting team I saw on that table there towards the bottom was Regnum Kaya. This is disappointing for the reigning PMGO champs coming into this one. They need to step up. They need to step up fairly quickly. I have no doubt in my mind that they can do it. The question is, will they bring it to bear today?
That's the question. We got a nice zone. Liking it, potentially setting up for a bridge zone. I love bridge zones. More importantly, I love military, but most likely going over to the mainland. But I do want to focus in as we've got 2 teams, maybe about to skirmish out over on military. Of course, talk about Fireflux, and you got Team Secrets, most likely going to be running into each other. They could have a truce. Maybe they say, hey, you go over to the right side bridge, we'll take over to left, and we'll just go our own way. But if I'm Team Secret, I've been on fire today. I'm not going to be intimidated by anybody. And you want to talk about being on fire? Fireflux is quite literally there in the top 3 running. So I'm looking at them to potentially be one of the front runners in the engagement. But who knows? We'll see how it ends up unfolding. What else do we see?
At the moment, it looks like Team Secret might just be heading out to the east, disengage. West and east bridges both available still. At the moment, it doesn't seem like too much more is unfolding. I feel like George Pole is potentially a little bit of a hotspot for contest on this northwest side. 2 teams in South George, Alpha 7 up in North George. That crossing down south that, because of this first circle, is going to happen for Alpha 7, could be under duress, could be a little bit of conflict in their future.
Yeah, but you got to think about who they're going against, right? It's E-Arena, who, well, let's face it, they've been struggling, only sitting at 8 points, currently in 13th place, and Alpha 7 being the top dogs they are. Winning that game, by the way, game 2 with 2 players was phenomenal. I could not believe my eyes. You actually called it early. I wasn't a believer until the very ends, but able to get, 4 to 5 revives overall. It was Revo and Korea who was able to get that win. So if I'm E-Arena and, of course, having to rotate down, I've got to go against Galacticos. That's not going to be an easy fight for either of those rosters. So for Alpha 7, I'm still favoring them, but you're right. I think we will have a skirmish soon.
They could always break out further to the east, right? There is always that option to go for a wide swing, but depending on the pace that they can loot, the pace that they can get out of North George, they may be able to avoid that altogether. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Team Secret, they did move all the way over to Novo. This is on the military island right now on your screens. They did move out east, so no conflict here for the time being. The question I have is, where are Fireflux going to rotate? I expect Team Secret to be going over the east bridge. I'm wondering if Fireflux are going to try and join them, because you're going to be aware that 4 Thrives are going to be on the other side of that bridge. And right now, I don't feel like you want to head towards this team.
I don't think so. 4 Thrives, they're obviously the top dogs for a reason. Will they be the top dogs by the end of this tournament? Who knows? But right now, they are undisputably the best with more than double the points, even over second, which is Hora. But I would think so, though. You know, for Fireflux, I would go to the right side bridge alongside that at Team Secret. But then you have Power over there, too. And Power, I don't know. There's no reason for them to go too deep into the zone as of yet. bridge camp potential, you think?
It could be. I mean, it does potentially waste a little bit of time. It looks like Fourth Thrives are going to disengage from that bridge position over towards a more central location, up towards that hill ridge that sits further north, but there's always time to come back as well. We'll have to see if that yo-yo comes through. And actually, Yangon Galacticos on the move. Okay, so that opens the door for Alpha 7, which was potential for them to find that path on in. Getting very, very central, nice and quickly. Into 5 minutes in the game and already finding a central spot. Rekukaya looking to do the same.
Yeah, taking a little bit of damage, but they're going to be just fine for the time being. This is a team that was much hyped up coming into PMWC, a team that needs to start gathering points. As we said, we're on our halfway point. Only 9 more games remain. Yeah, you've got 3 days of group stage, but the teams only played 2 of those days, a total of 12 games. 3 are already gone. With the point race being as close as it currently is, I know they're in 12th place, I should say, but they can easily jump right up with how close it is all the way up to top 8. And, well, DRX on your screen, a team that ended up starting off the day hot with the winner chicken dinner. They're currently in 6th place. It's going to be nice and quiet for the time being.
Yeah, just bunkering down right now. Early circles, keeping it chill, keeping the nerves in check. Something that I would love to see is like heart rate monitors coming.
Yes, we need that.
That would be really sick. Although to be fair, 64 heart rate monitors, that sounds like a nightmare.
Absolutely.
To be honest. But either way, I mean, it'd be so interesting to see how these players are affected by it. Obviously, early game, you're expecting some low tempos, but you can imagine it goes through the roof in those final moments. Unless, you know, you're Revo and Carrillo in those final moments. You're just super chilling.
You know, Alpha 7 is one of those teams that are just always so relaxed, it seems, and you got to appreciate that. I think that owes to their success. Falcons getting active, which good on them, the home team. I know the crowd's been going crazy for Team Falcons, as you would expect. A lot of the crowd set up actually right behind the Falcons roster, so they're hearing the loud roars every single time they pop off. For Team Falcons, they were center zone. Of course, they've got a lot of teams around them, but I do believe where they're currently at is, again, they're going to be chilling. Not a lot of teams want to fight at the moment. They'll do it if they have to, but for now, it's all about positioning into stage 2.
Absolutely. For the Falcons, they came into this tournament obviously as the winner of their region, coming in from Europe and qualifying through there. They won via a smash ruling. So if you want to take a look at that, make sure you go and check it out. But not yet, because we've still got more game to play. Unfortunately, it felt like some of the time, especially during the earlier stages of that tournament, they weren't quite as cohesive as they need to be to take on the global levels. They moved into the finals, and it felt like they had pieced it together, right? At the moment, they've got Redox, Koa, Narvalo, Ralph playing on the roster. It felt like sometimes there was a little bit of disarray in and amongst the roster, but right towards the end, they did show up. I was worried coming into this tournament that those early stages would come back and that performance would recur. For now, it seems like they're holding their nerve. There have been 1 or 2 missteps today in some pretty crucial moments, but I think for now, I'm pretty happy with where they're sat, up in 9th place, 18 points. They've got this first point on board as well.
Yeah, it's day 1, right? Since only 3 games in. We talk about teams struggling, but you know, right now it's time to get your feet underneath you, get used to the LAN environment. There are several players out there, this is their first LAN, and it hits differently, right? When you're playing at home, you're nice and comfortable, there's no pressure virtually, you're feeling okay. When you come to the LAN experience, you got crowds yelling at you, maybe booing you, maybe cheering you. You got a mix of emotions. For Team Falcons, I think they're doing just fine, and you talked about their progression. Well, we need to see progression from so many different rosters, and honestly, for me, Alpha 7, I wasn't happy with their Americas performance, I really wasn't, but I think that narrative's out the window. I'm feeling good. We shift now to mainland, and now we get to see Fourth Rise. They're going to gatekeep, of course, one of the rosters going across.
Fireflux are already trying to make their way through, but this eastern side is really heating up around Potato Hill. You've got Aura trying to make their way on through. Power leading the charge from that side of the map. Influence Rage going for a wide sweep out towards the north. The question is, where are they going to cut in? Are they going to go all the way out? Maybe challenge Alpha 7. There's potential there, depending on how far they go. They know they'll be on a home ground fight, right? Influence Rage versus Alpha 7. These two rosters will be familiar with one another. Yeah. They could have a little bit of an edge in this fight potentially, or the same could be true on the other side.
Influence Rage on your screen. Been happy with this roster through America's second place. They played so very, very well. In fact, even outdoing that of Alpha 7. during the PMSL Americas season. Well done from them. They've not done too bad. I know they're in 10th place, but again, that point gap, that point spread is just so incredibly close. When we're talking 4 points from going from 10th up to top 5, right? So for Influence Rage, happy they're going to be on the dead side of the zone in the north. I'm very curious how that's going to end up paying off for them. I want to see them make a deep run. I feel like Influence Rage is a roster. They've been around. We've talked about them on the global stages before, but this is the year I think they're truly going to show what they're made of.
I would hope so, but it seems like they have always been the little brother of the region, right? They are there, they're powerful in their own right, but they just haven't been able to take that next step. Maybe they'll find that development here, but I feel like with Big Brother's Alpha 7 in the lobby, it's going to be hard to try and take that fight.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, right? When it comes to Americas, it was a region that we paid attention to mainly for Brazil, North America. I know we've got our struggles. We're going to try and make it back up eventually. We're getting better, I promise you. But when you talk about the Big Brother of Alpha 7, I saw a massive improvement across the board from all the rosters because they know they've got Alpha 7 to battle against. Trust me, they wanted to win PMSL Spring Season 2025. And unfortunately, of course, some of them didn't, but for others, they did dethrone Alpha 7. Alpha 7 barely made it to this stage. Let's put that into perspective. They're doing great now, but I really do think Alpha 7's performance, them winning last year at EWC, truly made the other rosters say, I've got to step it up. You talk about little brother, they're looking to be the big brother now.
Absolutely. Try and have a little bit of regnal combat going on through. Take that throne away from Alpha 7. We'll be making sure to keep up to date to find who will be able to take that top spot. But is it even going to matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about that global interaction. Sure, you can increase the quality of those lobbies, but then how does that playstyle move into the current stage of gameplay? And with the experience that Alpha 7 has at this level,
right.
I think that is going to be a massive, massive hurdle to overcome for the teams looking to catch up. In a regional stage, sure, it's intense, sure, it's a lot, but when you put the international stage together, it changes the game entirely. It changes how the lobby plays, how it feels, everything about it, the lights on the stage. It can be a real task to overcome. Hard southwest shift on this circle, all the way out towards a pretty similar location where we saw this last match finished as well, out to the southwest side of Pachinki on those hills. You've got DRX slap bang in the middle. They've been hiding there for a long time in election.
They have, and they like to play it slow, but hey, make no mistake about it, they can get active if need be. You push into them, you've got a heck of a fight on your hands. Half of the lobby, quite literally half of the lobby, have to now rotate into the next stage, and you got a couple of teams who are set up. And talking about the couple, well, you've got them right here, right in front of you. Alpha 7, we talked about this fight. When was it going to go down? E-Arena landing up top alongside that of Alpha 7. Now they finally come, and they bump head-to-head.
Mormon with the first blood drawn there. Revo goes down, an immediate. Looking for the refrag through the window, not going to find it. Sliver of HP still there. And now with a nade cooking, it's Alpha 7 who are biting the dust more so than ever. Joker went down earlier, but now it's 3 players alive, and Alpha 7 can't find the fights. Tourniquet goes up the stairs, and immediately with the pump action around the corner, Alpha 7 coming apart of the seams.
Alpha 7, they're falling apart. Carrillo, can he be the hero? Can he be the one to save the day? They're already in shambles. He would be the only one leaving this engagement. Influence Rage, mind you, they might come in for the third party. This fight needs to be finished up, but Carrillo throws a Molotov, and it's going to at least drop one from the arena. Carrillo going for it off angle, taking damage, but he has no choice but to push forward, and he's making the most of it. Alpha 7 refusing to lose.
Not yet. They will not go quietly. An Influence Rage on the south side looking to guard this one out. Carrillo, though, could slip through the cracks as a solo. It's a lot easier to go unnoticed, but unfortunately, the firefight around him has drawn the attention of their regional teammates, and they will have to move through it. Carrillo, I don't expect them to be getting too much further, but he could leave north side, try and get in amongst it.
Well, they did it as a duo. Can Carrillo do it as a solo? That would be even crazier. Don't count him out, but I agree with you. Now you're going for placement points. You're in survival mode, and luckily for Carrillo, Influence Rage has backed away. It doesn't look like they're going to crash in on him, so should be just fine. And, well, he'll be a solo, wreaking havoc on the remaining rosters. Falcons moving in as Course Vision now wants to take on the Falcons. Let's see how it unfolds.
A double roll-up again as teams start to move. This is what hardships bring. Action left and right. Redox on the inside goes down first. The pump action from Never Alone and the flush as well. So Falcons fighting with 3. Navallo wins the trade. The pump action winning the day, and a second as well. Koa's there for the backup. There's a nade. It doesn't sit, and Navallo can now look for this healing on the northeast side. Order are nearby, and it looks like they're going to roll in for the fight.
There it goes. Hey, Order wants this. They need it. Points so valuable to catch up. They're already in top 3, but they want a little bit more. Vision taking damage on the stairway, but don't worry, because you got Navallo from the Falcons who's been holding it down, and you mentioned Horror. Well, here they are. Sleepy, no fear, starting to take the house opposite of Team Falcons. We've now lost a roster, and all attention on Falcons versus Horror now.
Massive pickup on the back line of Horror as well, meaning they're 2 players on the inside. Losing that off angle is huge. It draws the attention out that way, and a knock on the forefront as well. Falcons are splitting the difference here on the fight beautifully, as they will look for more.
Navallo, I mean, he has just been doing quite literally everything. All eyes on him, the tip of the spear for this roster to take down Sleepy and No Fear. Ralph also moving in as well. You gotta think they've got a power position. That stairway is always hard to push up, though. It's gonna be a choke point, and you know dang well Horror's gonna be looking straight down it.
Immediately finding these flushes as well. They beautifully split the attention. An off angle, the third party coming through from Power as they sweep through the backline, and it is going to be turning tail and running the story for Horror now in the rest of this match. 2 players alive. Sleepy's not long for this one. Yeah. The point gets stolen though, and it goes over to Power.
So now it's Jiggle Sky. They're going to go in and dip. They're going to get within zone. They're going to play the survival game like Alpha 7's Carrillo, but I'd rather have 2 than 1. Either way, that's how it ended up unfolding. Power Esports, who's had such a struggle throughout our tournaments. Not one of the first teams out, mind you, so maybe good news for them. We talk about at the halfway point, 9 more games remaining. I'm hoping Power is able to turn things around in this airing game.
We didn't really talk about it too much with all the fighting going on, but the circle shift was another hard southwest side shift, which means that Falcons had to move fast and early. Unfortunately, they weren't in the best of shapes to do it, as Horror do finally bite the dust. It means that Falcons are going to have to crash in a suboptimal situation to the north side. Same story going to be true for Power, as they have now wasted a little bit of time, I think it's safe to say, on this northeast side.
So Fallic, he's going to be the scout, kind of breaking away from 4 Thrives, who are going to be just up to the northeast of where he's currently at, and maybe calling out Solus, who I believe is down, if I'm not mistaken. We do have a bit of a crash, though. Falcons continuing to get into engagements, and this time it doesn't work out.
Regnum Kaya, the ones to receive that in the ditch, in the divot. It's going to go down for the Falcons, and I don't think that their lone player is going to get to, hang on a minute, take it back. Koa with a drive-by onto Romeo, hits him with a runaround, and we'll be able to survive a moment or 2 longer. But really no safe ground in this central area. These hillsides are littered with Caltrops.
Yeah, for Galacticos, we obviously tuned in with them just a little bit, but they got teams all around them, including Power, but Power is not having a good time. Galacticos are taking them down left and right. Falcons also eliminated some heavy dogs already out.
Yeah, that was the final player, Koa, going down. He was not able to find any respite in the middle. And now, with 4 teams or so looking to try and hold it out, seems like Regnum Kaya want to extend their influence. A nade over towards Easy connects, and that is going to be a beautiful opener. 2 players now standing for Power, as there's teams behind them also looking to put pressure on. Rolling on out, Regnum Kaya not going to let Easy go down, and the 2 and 2 roll around will be good for it. However, there is a sideline that they need to be worried about. Get the cover in. Wild low as well. The vehicle's going up in smoke, and Loxy's down all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's down, and I believe that was a third party from DRX way off in the distance, getting some shots out. And, well, we got Team Secret also trying to survive. I mean, you got so many teams in shambles, and when you got to go to these shacks, I call them the Death Shack, you're in a lot of trouble. But the teams have spread out quite a bit. I'm actually surprised we've lost so many rosters and players at this stage of the game.
This open field situation, this open hillside that sits to the north of it, these 2 hard southwest shifts followed by a northeast shift, maybe giving a little bit of pause for a breather, but still those 2 hard shifts that we saw in a row have really changed the tune here in the lobby. It's forced teams to take fights where they wouldn't have wanted to otherwise, and now at 18.5 minutes in, we're down to 10 teams, and a lot of those teams not looking healthy.
Take a peek at Fire Flux racing against Papa Blue. Influence Rage just above them. Talk about Fire Flux landing over on Military. Would they have a bit of a skirmish with 4 Thrives on the Western Bridge? That doesn't end up happening, so they're still alive. Now down to, of course, just a handful of teams. Circle closing in. Another shift about to begin. Excuse me, as Fire Flux starts to get active a little bit. Luckily, they got on the vehicles. The question is, can Influence Rage, do they get aggressive? Obviously, they have to move. Do they set position up to the right-hand side to cut off Fireflux's rotation?
It's going to be tricky here for both of these teams on the southwest side, and Fireflux are first to move. For the moment, Influence Rage still holding in their compound near Quarry. And they're going to have to try and go in a little bit later. So Fireflux, where are they going to opt to crash in? They've already sent 2 players towards this Regnum Kaya stronghold. I don't know how that's going to go for them. We know that there's third-party angles on there. They're already getting lit up. Scarface with a slow roll around the side, but the vehicle takes him down. It's Regnum Kaya and Nongshim Red Force on the crossfire. Now the 2 remaining players of Fireflux are going to try and send Long over to the north side. A straight cut through the circle on the western flank. And in the meantime, in the wake of that rotation, Influence Rage push in from the west.
Yeah, they're coming in, and they're going to be coming in hard. It's going to be a big push from them. Regnum Kaya needs to watch out, of course, as Influence Rage, a dominant team. Fireflux, I cannot believe that they're still alive in this moment. It's so unfortunate they lost 2 of their players, so now they've got to go at it. And, well, Influence Rage actually looked to be crashing in on Korea, who's been a solo for the longest time.
He has been alive, and he's going to keep trying as 4 thrives go down as well. In the meantime, Carrillo with his full send straight towards Fireflux. 2 players alive,
what?
But he goes too slow. No hop out to be seen, and Ketch finds a duck sitting in his sightlines.
That's it. And Fireflux, luckily for them, they will be dead center of the current zone. That's great, but also could potentially make you a target. You've got Galacticus, who's going to be just onto your left. Got DRX as well. Influence Rage, of course, are going to be moving in. We'll be keeping our eye out for Fireflux, and of course, at the moment. And also Team Power, man, I gotta say, for Team Power's perspective, just still struggling. I thought for a good moment they were gonna have a great game based on their positioning on the north, but just got too rough for them.
They weren't quite able to convert here. Fireflux do finally go down. The last 2 of Regnum Kaya sidle on in, but Silas needs a little hand here from Wild, as they only have 2 players to go. Yangon Galacticos on the northwest edge also can put pressure onto this location, but they're being a little bit slow with it. They're more concerned about Influence Rage on the west side, who have been, again, very slow, very tepid in their rotational pace here on the west edge.
As things start to slow down just a little bit, shots are ringing out, but nobody really at risk of going down except for Lil Boy. I'd say Galacticos trying to take him down. They will do so. The rest of the Influence Rage roster, I guess, a little bit separated. Lil Boy maybe being a scout, can't get away. And that's so unfortunate because they had such a strong position on this side of the map, and now they've got to recover and make a decision. Do we go for revenge, or do we just continue to play the dead zone, get in there, and maybe watch our backs? Because, of course, you know, Red Force, they're going to be moving in just behind them potentially, but I think that's an oversight, leaving Lil Boy out by his own. But they're going in, they're crashing.
They may have expected Yangon Galacticos to go further forwards, in which case the Lil Boy would have been in prime location to take those backstab shots when Influence Rage need to move up north. They overinvest potentially on that angle, and Yangon Galacticos have excellent wherewithal to be able to read that and take down that player at the back. Very, very cautious, but it works out well for them. And now they can be the ones to put the pressure on Influence Rage as they take a fight on 2 fronts. You could see on the minimap this vice grip that now sits around this Influence Rage position.
So they got to make a decision. Push forward, push back. Staying where you're currently at could be a death trap. And they look like they were going to push in onto Nongshim Red Force, but they don't make the full commitments. And in the meantime, yeah, you see them still taking their time. The more time you take, the more of an opportunity for a third party. The nade, luckily, just a bit short. Law's going to be okay. And with them hopping in cars, are they disengaging?
Well, they saw Silas rolling up, and I was watching Silas just there, and he randomly decided to send towards Yangon Galacticos. He did get a lot of info on their location, but he took a lot of damage in the process. He's slow rolling behind the vehicle, looking for a time to pop that first aid, but he didn't put the handbrake on here, and it's just going to keep rolling away from him.
Oh, the nade. So close, Silas. Down, unfortunately. Tough break for him. We focus now on DRX. Reginald just up ahead. DRX has had such a great day. This fight should be no different, you would have to assume anyways. For Reginald, Kara, they got to obviously make a bit of an impact here. For Influence Rage, by the way, standing strong, taking down the team opposite of them, of course, Nongshim Red Force. That's going to be a great opportunity now to gain a couple more points, move up. Granted, only 2 players, but still, with that gap being the top 8, so close to them already breaking into top 8, I think this game could be very valuable.
absolutely. They do have 2 players alive, losing Diego in that fight. They will be playing on from that southwest side. Yangon Galacticos disengaged because of this crazy play from Silas. So a little bit of a breath of life potentially into this influence race position. Ooh, Weibo though. Find the pick off onto Lorazin, and on the back lines, that's going to leave Influence Rage on just 1 player remaining now, and that is going to make things real tough for them. DRX, again, been fairly quiet throughout this. They're up to 3 elims, but they have all 4 players alive. They're playing on this long side of the hill. They're going to start to be able to move up. It's Yangon Galacticos, DRX, these 2 opposing positions, and Weibo on the southeast side as well. Already on 6 elims, by the way. Having a brilliant game so far, who have a more central position here. The rest is dribs and drabs, ragtag bunch of solos.
Solos galore. That was from the early violence that we witnessed pretty early. I think, stage 1, stage 2, quite honestly. Law, though, very interested in what he's going to be able to do, only because as a solo, he can truly devastate essentially the positioning of not only the last player from Team Secret, but also Weibo, depending if he's able to penetrate that off angle. So he could be a thorn in their side, depending, but of course, all eyes on DRX and Weibo. And Weibo needs a good game here. This would be tremendous for him. They've been towards the bottom. They were much hyped up. In fact, I believe even in the power rankings, Weibo breaking into the top 3 for our analysts. So for them, this game could be exactly what the doctor ordered in order to rise up the ranks.
You would hope so. For a while now, the teams from the PL have been a little bit out of the spotlight, looking for a little bit of a resurgence here. We've got Undertalk to look forward to, but for now, it is just Weibo flying that PEL flag. Yangon Galacticos now moving on in towards Wild, but he spots him and immediately step up, spray down. You can't give him that broadside. Romeo feels the brunt of it, and Wild looks for another as well. 2 players rolling up. The spray down potential, but Wild will fall, and that will be Regnum Kaya out.
It's unfortunate. That fight was setting up for quite some time for Yangon Galacticos. Good on them. They stay up, they stay alive. Still 3 strong, mind you. So a chance to take this game is in, but now DRX also getting active. Weibo onto Yangon Galacticos up ahead. If I'm DRX, I'm now crashing in onto Galacticos, taking them down, because really once they do that, they control the entirety of the northern portion of the next stage.
The difficulty is what sort of angles do you expose to the south side here. There's this big saddle that Yangon Galacticos sit in. You can see DRX a little bit hesitant to go for the full send here. They're moving out to the west side as DRX do manage to keep that fight penned on in. Yangon Galacticos fall. They don't need to full flush. They have control of the north side entirely here. And now they can move back out to this eastern side and start to put pressure down south.
All right, so Team Secret, 1 alive. Meanwhile, you got a good old-fashioned 4v4. Weibo versus DRX. The overhead view showing you what's at stake. You got a little bit of elevation. DRX is going to be on the high ground. Meanwhile, the snakes in the grass of Weibo slowly inching their way up. The question is, once they apex that hill, is Weibo going to mow them down?
It's all on the smokes here in these final moments as Team Secret losing their final play. Well, hang on a minute. Take it back. Sorry, hang on a minute.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. A little bit of miscomms on the spray down. Finally, orders there. The Souk can't quite connect. But now it is a full 4 versus 4. DRX, who have moved back out to this north side, have it fully under control. There's still an off angle played for her on that southeast side of Weibo Gaming. You can see that movement now coming up the hill towards that shack. And DRX looking to extend their influence here for South Korea.
Forder. You can't. I was going to say if you can get an off angle extend to the left, but it's a bit too tricky. A lot of utility was used from DRX a little bit earlier to take down Galacticos. I'm sure that they wish they at least saved a little bit of it so they can have this utility to apex that hill onto Weibo just up ahead. But at least the good news from DRX at the moment, nobody from Weibo really has like a tremendous off angle. Maybe suck over onto the left-hand side. But aside from that, like DRX with their Wolfpack, it's going to be tough because Weibo's going to get up. They're going to shoot 1. DRX is going to be able to focus fire everything onto 33Z, Order, or Zuck just onto the left-hand side. So honestly, in this position, I think I have to favor DRX.
It's all going to be up to the smoke play, right?
Sure.
You can really change the tide of a fight like this, especially on such a weirdly rolling terrain position. If you can create a smoke separation, you have a huge advantage. And you're talking about these off angles. Those can be assuaged with good smoke play, right? So it depends how you're able to target it. It also depends how much utility you've got left in these final moments. You can see that for Weibo Gaming, they've been through the ringer. They've got 9 elims already, but certainly on 33Z, there's no smokes, only 1 nade here.
He's the tip of the spear, too. With his forward position, he's most likely going to be the one to attack first. And you need the rest of the rosters out there to help him out from Weibo. Order's going to throw out a smoke. We're now repositioning. He's going to take the lower end for 33Z's. Got a little nade going past him, but he's going to be just fine. Weibo now also in a buggy. They're getting active. I don't know. DRC better be ready for it. Excuse me, DRX. Better be ready for this engagement. Weibo, they're starting to get sneaky.
Playing on in the smoke, he drops that, sits in the backseat of the buggy, can get that little higher ground angle to look for the peaks, but DRX should know this is what's happening. And immediately these nades respond! DRX read it beautifully. They're like, what's that smoke doing there? What's that buggy doing there? Well, I think we know what we got to do. 3 pins pulled and 1 player falls. 33Z now looking to try and get an answer here. This res is going to be so difficult, Reflections.
I don't think they're going to get it. There's no way. Do you fully commit for that? Because you have to assume DRX is going to capitalize off of it. They're taking it slow, but once those smoke dissipate, they're going to get active, and DRX takes down yet another one. Another one will fall, and this should be the ending that DRX is looking for.
This is beautifully played by DRX, immediately capitalizing on that knock into the smoke. These smokes bloom on the top of the hill. They create sightline channels that they can play through. There's a res coming through for Weibo, and they do manage to get 3 players back up in an action, but Scissors forward now. 33 spotted, gets the knock. Is there an answer? Order looks for it, and they do find the challenge that they were looking for. Hurt is there as well. Looking for that backup. In a 3 versus 2 though, DRX still have the numbers.
DRX has the numbers, but do they have the wherewithal to figure out where Weibo is going to be up to? It seems like the forces are falling, and I think this is finally going to be the end, albeit a miracle play. DRX closing the vice grip, pushing forward. Weibo falls, and it will in fact be DRX taking game number 4 on Arigel.
Lying in wait, they move through the hills, a coordinated approach, a brilliant read onto Order's buggy rotation, looking for vision, and they will be able to find that knock, open up the bidding on that final engagement. Not enough utility from Weibo to be able to survive that final fight. They've got plenty of points though on the match, and they will be nearly level with DR